Hello everybody, it's Ginger here, and hopefully I'm not going to get in the way of the camera. We'll see what happens. I have been doing a lot of gouache painting of just still lifes mostly, just having some fun basically. These are copies of work from another artist. She works a lot in gouache and she's pretty skilled at trying to get it to do what she wants to do. I have some issues. Sometimes I make it too thin, sometimes it's too thick. If I'm using the Himmies, obviously I'm using it from dry, which means you can't get the thickness, so it's a bit different. So I've been looking and following some of her tutorials and just having fun with what she's been doing to learn a bit more. And this is some of the stuff that I've been doing. Hopefully you guys can see that. And we're going to do a kind of more square version of this one in soft pastel on this paper. So this is a piece of the Fabriano watercolour paper, and I've just put a thin layer of gesso on it, so nothing else, just gesso, which I've stippled on with a brush. So rather than having the brush lines show through, it's a stipply effect, which should hold on to the pastel a bit better. So I'm going to shove this to one side so that I can see it, and then I will grab a pastel pencil and I'm going to mark out what I want first. The composition in my sketchbook is obviously portrait, and it's not, it's about 5 by 8 inches, so it's not standard size. It's a handmade sketchbook made for me by a friend of mine who had got some cancer-made tents, not the touch, just the normal ingress paper from a charity shop, and he made this. He knew I did pastel work, so he created this bound sketchbook for me. It was absolutely brilliant. And the good thing about pastel paper is it's got enough weight to it that it can generally hold a lot of things. So let's grab a pastel pencil. What colour should I use? Just grab something that we can see for what we're doing, but not too much. The light is going to change consistently. I do apologise. It's just going to be one of those days. Right, so I was thinking from there to about there. So what we should have is one of the tomatoes there, and then the two that are touching here. They're kind of slightly odd shapes, but that's tomatoes for you. So kind of like that. Yeah, bigger, I think is the answer to this one, is we want to do these much bigger. So that kind of comes off there. I want that one to touch, mostly because I want, let's do, that goes around, that comes under there like that. Mostly because I've got this touching the bottom one, so I want one up here. That's the middle bit of that there. And then this one's got a little bit of green coming up that way. I love tomatoes, they're so funny. Right, is that better? I think so, right. It's definitely an interesting composition, if nothing else. We're going to ignore the fact that there is a shadow at the top, because that is the upper tomato, but in this painting that tomato doesn't exist. So we are just going to ignore that, and we are just going to put the stripes in. Oh, no. Like that. They are on a bit of a shape. So you've got some fat ones and some thin ones going on here. Oh, that's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Let's redo that one. like that. Right, that's what we're aiming for. And then the shadow for this one comes off the bottom corner of that and then comes round that way. And the same with this one, as it comes round, it kind of touches this one just ever so slightly. So this light is coming kind of top down. So if you imagine the light coming from this direction down, that's the reflective bit on the tomatoes. There, like that. With me? Probably not, but never mind. There's a slight element of just making this up as we go, but that's fine. I'm also trying to drink my cup of tea before it goes cold. I'm unsuccessful in that so far. It is already cold and I'm still drinking it. Right, first things first with this thing is to get base colours down and blend those out, because we haven't got a lot of layers to work with, so we want to try and keep this as simplified as possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is layer down a really nice orange for the tomatoes. And you're probably going, orange, why are you doing orange? Well, orange is actually a really good mid-tone for a shiny tomato. And remember, we're going to be adding lighter and darker tones on top of this, so let's just block this in with a mid-tone. I could, of course, just cover the whole thing in orange and work from there. Oh, I could do, couldn't I? Do you know what? I think I'm going to go and get the gouache and we will give this a base colour, so I've got something interesting to kind of work from underneath. Right, so I've got the Hemi out just because it's easier. Oops, kick the stand. Do you know I keep doing that? It's because I can't see where my feet are. And I've gone for a really kind of mid-tone warm purple. And the reason for that is I want a nice warm colour underneath. I am going to have to go carefully around the lines because this will take them out. I don't want that. Good, we're getting there. So what I'm looking at it doing is basically giving me a base colour to work on. Some of this will show through, and that is what I want. And I can still see my lines through that, which is good because that's what I wanted. Right, that's that done. That needs to dry before I can do anything. So, as with all the rest of my things, we need that to dry. We'll be back shortly. Righto. That's dry and I'm not leaving any fingerprints, so that's perfect. Right, first things first, we're going back to deciding to do our base colour. So let's do our base colours first and then work from there. So we've got our beautiful tomatoes here. So you can see the stippling when I do this. So remember, I know where I'm going with this. A little bit of a hump there. Does that go that way? Oh, I have got one coming back that way. I just can't see it anymore. Right, that's fine. We've got a little bit there, and then this bit here, like that, and then this one here. And yes, the paper is a little warped at the moment. It is still damp, So the problem with using a watercolour paper base is that they tend to suck up the water and then hold on to it for a while, which means they're never fully dry for a while. Usually if I want it to go back to being flat, I need to leave it for a few days and then come back to it. I do not have a few days and I do not want a few days. I just want to get straight in with this, because that's the fun part. I am going to set aside the pencils I'm using. I've got too many things on the table next to me, which is not helping. Come here, you sit there, you sit here. Right. And that will give me a nice base for showing you guys what colours I'm using. I've also got a sketchbook on top of everything, which is not helping. Honestly, I like have nowhere to put anything. Right, let's put you back there, clean my fingers, and then what are we doing with this? Right. So blend that in. That'll give me a nice base to work from. I know I've gone over the stalk there. Doesn't bother me too much. Look at that. You wouldn't believe it. That is an orange. It is not a red. It is a super cool colour. This is going on a walk. Just doing little circles just to make sure that blends in a little better than it was. Like that. Right, now I want to do, I'm just going to rough out the greenery. Just going to use a basic green. This is just because I want to get the white and the blue stripes in shortly. Do these spiky bits have a name? What do we think? Am I missing one? I am. This has got like a little bit there, and then it kind of spikes up to there. And this, we've just got a little bit there, but we'll just put that there for a minute. Right, that's that one. We want some of our blue white, I think. I don't want white, but I definitely want it light enough that I can have some fun. I'll add a few other colours into it. I keep stepping into this. Right, it's wonky, right. So this is where our white's going to be. Just gently put that in. Try and keep out of the range of these green bits. Not enough? Yeah. Now, where the shadows are, I'm not going to put any white. Remember, we're working with paper that doesn't have a lot of tooth, so if you wanted to work on something like the Canson May 10th, not the sanded version, the normal pastel paper version, or any other pastel paper version like the Daleroli Ingress, there's quite a few different Ingress papers out there that's just plain pastel paper and not sanded, then this is good for that as well, where it doesn't hold a lot of pastel, and we know that with what we're doing here, so it'll be a very similar Easy process to do on that paper as well. You can see the green's really mixed in with that, but I'm not fussed. Nope, that's part of the shadow. So this is where the shadow next comes out. God, a nightmare. That's blue. That's white, I think, is now. That's blue, and then this is white. And then that's white. And up here, it's easy because it's just the stripes. Don't have to worry about the shadow. And that's white. Okay. Now I want a kind of brown beige at the moment for the shadows, but it will have other colours in it because it will be picking up reflected colour from the tomatoes. That's the blue stripe, that's where the white is. So this is the colour replacing where the white is in the stripes. Same here. Same there. So you can see now where the shadows are, so I'll put that down. Now we'll get a blue. We want a mid-tone blue because we're putting a dark blue over the top. So we'll use the blue violet because it's such a gorgeous colour. And you can see the purples showing through that, which is great. And with the shadows, where the blues and the shadows, we'll be doing that something slightly different, with a different colour. Just trying to find where each of the blue stripes are, and they will be tidied up once we've blended this out. We get other colours over the top. Oh, and there's just a little bit there, like that. Right, that's blue. Right, let's find a decent colour for what we're doing here. Realistically, I want more of a purple. Yeah, like that. So this is a neutral purple, and it's pretty perfect for what we want there. Oh, that's blue, isn't it? It is. This is blue here. It's not in shadow, it's just catching between the two tomatoes before it changes, it goes into the shadow here. And then that one, and then the big one there. Right, there is the basic colours down and the shadows. I'm going to blend that out, starting with the white, and then that will allow us to do a lot more over the top. Right, there is our base. Now's the fun part. Now we start working down the colours. So we'll work on tomatoes first and then the background, just because that's going to be nice and easy. Plus I want any dust, especially the darker red tones, and red is quite a difficult pigment to get out of the lighter areas, that I want to get that done first, get the dust off, and then continue from there. So we will work with our tomatoes first. I'm going to grab the book, it makes a nice reference, and I'm going to find a nice dark red brown, which I know I've got in here. It might be in bits, which I already knew anyway. The first thing we want to do is look at the shadows on these. So we've got one here, and this is where the two meet. And then let's make that wider. And then one down the bottom here. This is from Ush. This is where it kind of meets the tablecloth. It comes up to about here. And I just want to make sure we get enough of that in. And then the same on here. We've got this here. It kind of cuts up, and then there's a little patch here like that, and there's some of this in here, which is part of the bit there. Yeah, that'll do. Pop that over there, and then what I'm going to do is just blend it ever so lightly. Smooth it out a little bit. I don't want loads because we're going to be working a lot on top of this. And I just want to keep that fun element to just keep going and going and going. Right. Now, have I got my other reds in here? Now we've got the rust colour. And yeah, there is a lot more oranges than you think in this. So this is a mid colour. Kind of, we want a patch of it here, running that way. And a little bit here, where this is coming to here, like that. Again, there's a patch of it here. This is it, we're just looking at where there are blocks of these colours and where we're going to put them. Like that. So our red purple, I think this is our red purple, and there's a little bit of that, yeah, there's a little bit of that in here, not much, but that's going to go that way. Like that. And then there's actually another patch of it here, which we'll do. Do there. And yeah, it's just the darker colours that are coming in there. There's a little bit there. There's also a small amount of it here for some reason, but that's fine. There's a lot more of this on this one though. So this is a red pink, and it's a shade, so it's quite dark red pink, but that's fine. That's what we're looking for. Kind of like a weird shaped blob of it there. Anything else? No, not really. Right. Just want to go back to our beautiful orange. There's a huge patch of this red orange here. like that. Another one here. As we come up to the edge of there. This comes down there. There's another section here. Underneath all this. It comes this way. And on this one, we've got some of it here. Some of it here. Some of it here. We also have a fair amount of it here, coming around and down there. And another patch just there. But actually, this does really come in up here as well. So we're just going to get that in while we've got the opportunity. Come here. As it touches up to the next colour, you carry that in so that they form a nice blend through. This one the red one? Or is that more of our orange? It's the problem with these, can't really tell at the moment which one's which. That's more of our red, more of a red even. It's just slightly redder than what's up there at the moment. That's kind of what we need for here. So we come down into that, and then along. There's more yellow there. And same on here. And more yellow to orange there. There's a little bit of this red down here as we touch into this, and obviously here. And then here, it's more red here. And on this side here. A little bit here before it goes more into the yellows. Looking like a right cocktail and a half, isn't it, at the moment? Which is fine. Now we've got our bright yellow orange. This is a glorious colour. And this is going to go in like that. And down. Also a little bit here. I want to get in. Another little bit up there. And then this bit here. There's a quick bit there. And a lot more here as this comes down into there. And then this one has a huge amount of it along here and down. And then we're going to come that way. Where the reflected light is, we want to bring this down. Tiny little bits here and there, like that. And then we're going up again, we're going into another yellow. This is a paler one. And the reason for that is we need to start getting in some of our highlight soon. So I want that there, same here, paler yellow here, coming all that way. And here as well. Right, so we've got a lot of very messy colours down at the moment, but that's fine. I'm going to start pulling this back and forth with these rest of these colours. We're going to go back to our red. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to pull this, make this a little smaller. Come in there. There's also a pale patch here that we need to get in. This bit here is fine. I just want to get that in. And then this coming under, I'm going to bring this down a little bit more. I think we've got just a little too much dark going on here for what I want. Just going to blend that slightly. Same with this here. Right. I think what I need to do is just go over that dark section slightly with this red. It's just a little too, it's too dark right in the middle. So if I blend them together, I should get more of a red, yeah, like that. That's better. Bring that round. Same with that, going down there. And I need some of that darker red purple here. Like that. I'm just going to bring that in, back in there, back in there. And that actually goes all the way up to there. Beautiful. Right, I want a very pale, pale yellow before we do the white. And that is, we're just going to mark here, which is where one highlight is. There's another one here. We've also got pale patch here that we want to blend in, so we're just going to rub that into the red there. There's another one here. And this is just things that are reflecting off the surface and skin of the tomato, and it does that. And then, weirdly enough, there's another one here. Like that. Why is that green? That shouldn't be green. That, I think, is part of my problem there. That should be orange, not green. So we can bring that in, like that, and then cut this shape a bit better. Should help. So we'll do that. It's more of a kind of the right shape now. It's a bit better. And we're going to go in with pure white for the centre on that one. So this is white with a hint of yellow. It's definitely more white than anything else we've got here. And I'm not wanting much, but I'm just wanting just a little bit to get in there. pressing quite hard, because obviously at this point I got a lot of pastel down, so we really want to get that in there. Same with the other one. We'll go in with our paler yellow first, and there is just a little bit of it underneath where the white is, so we'll do that. And then there's some paler patches of the red, so we just blend that in up here. This one there, coming this way. Another one underneath it there. This one just here. That one we're just going to be a bit more careful with. And yellow down here is a bit more elongated, and I think it's because it's further down, it's getting the light in a different way. And we've got a little patch here, here, just one there, and then one there. Right, and then we'll get our white in. Give me your white. In this case, it's going to be, it's here. And up there, it's a bit different. It's more of a slightly bigger area. Like that. I think I need to lighten up some areas. So come back in with our red orange. I need to lighten this area, it's too dark. So we're going to come in and just lighten that along here to this section here. I do want that to be able to mix properly with this bit here. I still don't like this. I still think it's too big. So we're going to bring that down a little bit, like that. And this bit, it's a little bit lighter just there. I think that's a bit better. And this too, I think, is a little dark. So we're just gonna go over it with orange red, and as I go over it, it just lightens it up. So I'm just looking at where the different areas are that I want to kind of lighten in with that red. Orange is such a gorgeous colour. Like that. And don't worry, I haven't neglected down here. I'm well aware that I still need to bring some of this in. And this switches around that bit. And the white, we're done with it. There it is. Just really bring that back out a bit more. Now our delightful green stems, let's work on that a minute. This just reinforces where they are, which is what we want. I want to put the dark on first before I play with slightly more neon colour. What do we got? It's going to be a nice darkish colour to go in there. This is one of the Dowler Early Browns. Yeah, because while I'm at it, I can reinforce that edge there, which would be good. And the same here actually. Just not only make them a little bit rounder, but just reinforce that dark edge and there as well. A bit better. And this has got this dark bit here, which is perfect. And then we've got dark bit here. Which comes out. Remember, do not worry about getting it right, it's about just getting it down. Playing with it, having fun. And this one is only really a little bit dark. Actually some here I've missed. Just a little spot there and there. Because the rest of this is really quite pale. And then we want a nice vibrant bright green. I've got several greens to choose from. So I'm going to go with a mid one first and see how this goes. Oh, I like that a bit better now. Just a little touch of it down here. I just want to get in there. Okay. Do I want to go a bit lighter again? I think I do. Why not? Stop moving. Yeah, right. Now, while we're here, this is where we'll get some additional colour into these shadows. What I'm thinking is we have the red purple colour, which is great. And is that it or is that a blue? Let me just clean it and check. Are we with the wrong colour? No, it is. So it's like a dark mauve, but it's perfect for adding a little bit extra dark where we need it. it's just specifically where the darkest patches are for the tomato. So I'm bringing it down from the dark sections into both the blue and where the white is, like that. And then the same here, so just bring this down with this colour. It's not much, but it's just enough to kind of work in with that. And then I go back in with our neutral over the top, and it just really blends that in without it kind of becoming too much of an issue. Same here. Like that. Right, I'm going to go back in with our darker green and just turn to picking out a few bits and pieces here with this. That's a bit better. Right, am I happier with that? A little. Not quite where I want it to be, but it does work. I'm not blending it in too much, I'm just dabbing it slightly with my finger just to get some of these colours in. And then that helps me go, right, I'm missing a lot of yellow in that section there. So we bring the yellow in. And that brings in this yellow here. It really does curve around quite a bit. There, and also down here. I think I was just missing that curve really. Same here. Really want to get that in here. It comes down here. This one's obviously a lot darker. Where are we at with that one? I think I need to add a bit more this here. We're kind of losing some of it to the browny colour. That's just a little too much for what we wanted. And the same here. So we're just going to pull that back slightly. So there's a bit more red. That better? That's better, yeah. Right, and then lighten that with the orange, and that should work a bit better. Yeah, I like that. It's a bit better. And I think I need to bring some of the lighter colour up. I think the easiest way I can do that is actually with this, because this isn't light enough here where it comes up. It just needs to be a little bit lighter. Is that better? A little better. I just worried that the dark had just come too far around and we were kind of missing the point at that point. Right. Now I need to add a tiny amount, I mean tiny amount of red into these shadows, because you would get some just a little bit like that. Right, let's get the paper off, shall we? And we'll see how these guys look with a bit more of a border. They always look better when you do that. Although, do I want to add a bit more? In fact, actually no, what I'll do is I want to add a bit more into this, into the lines on this cloth. And this is a slightly darker blue, but I'm just gonna add some of that in. Because there's always texture and colour changes. And just, God, I forgot that this one just falls apart. But this darker blue will just help bring these tomatoes out just a little bit more. It's a really lovely contrast colour. It comes down, and there's a bit on the side that I want in, and the same here to there. Poor blue, it's just falling to pieces. Right, get that blue out. I'm coming back in with the white anyway. Do you want to add a little bit of the neutral in? Probably not at the moment. Where is the blue? I've put the blue down. I put the other blue down now. I don't know what I'm doing with it. Is that it? Is that it? That's it, isn't it? Just, yeah. There's 2 tones of blue now in the stripes, a slightly more dark, more saturated colour, and then our pale violet blue, which is just kind of helping bring it back together again. That's what we wanted. Just bring that in there. I'm going to very carefully blend that red out. I'm bringing some more of the white back in, so don't panic just yet. Okay, let's bring this white back in. I'm just going to clean the tip of it. So you see it's a nice clean white tip. I'm just going really loosely around the different sections. and just adding in where I need to add in. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but when I blend down the white, because of the purple underneath, it took on a slightly purple tone. So when I'm putting this white back over the top, it's not as white. This is more white over the top. And the advantage of that is it's giving me these gorgeous colours. And there's a almost subtle variety going on between each of these. And then I'll just nip in and do this bit. I want to do some white into this, maybe a little. Not much, like that. There's a couple of little hints here and there of the muted tone that we've got for the shadow, also in the cloth. So just little bits of it here and there will help, like that. Yeah, that's better. Right, let's get the tape off. We'll see what it looks like. You want the corner pieces to stay on. Stay. You stay put. This is going to rip. No, it's not so far as long as I'm slow. Sure. There we go. Maybe one. That one's coming off easier. Oh, I said to jinx that, didn't I? Let's pull that sideways. Oh, there we go. You guys still see all right? I think so. We're on a bit of a wonk, which is normal. Right, let's see if this is gonna let me take this up without too many issues. Nope. Come on. Leave that corner behind, please. Thank you. Right. Trying desperately hard not to touch the paper. Pulling this off. Because my hands are filthy from touching the board, and the board is covered in pastel. Right. Now, which direction do I need to go to get this off without this? Right. If I hold that there, that worked. Right. Hold the corner down. Come on, corner. Come on. Right, so it ripped the paper of the corner there, but never mind. Right, this one. take this one slowly. There we go. Right, people, there they are. Some happy tomatoes sitting on a cloth. Isn't that gorgeous? There's just something about painting bright fruit in sunlight on chintzy cloth. I don't know, it's just very cottagecore, but it's also kind of deep down very satisfying. Anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you for another pastel painting video very shortly. Ta-ta for now.